I had legit had people tell me to my face that I was never going to step on stage again. I had people saying that, good luck getting your body back. I've had those comments, you're never going to be the same. How am I going to overcome this? Welcome to the AAA Mindset, the podcast where adversity isn't a setback. It's the setup. If life has challenged you and stepped on your confidence and forced you to pivot, you're in the right place. Here, we train the mind to face obstacles head on and turn them into fuel for growth, resilience, and success. Adam and I lost our jobs. I knew who Adam was at the time because I had, started bodybuilding back in 2015. I had known him from the bodybuilding space, but I was like, you know what? I can't move now. COVID shut everything down. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you knew of Adam.
Yeah.
Right? What was your perception initially of Adam?
Oh my God. My friend Aaron and I
here we go.
went.
Here we go. Love that.
When we walked into Armbrust to train one day and we see Adam and I'm like, oh my God, that dude's head looks like it's gonna pop off. Because he was he must have been in like a building bulking phase because he was just like
huge. Yeah.
And like his head was cherry red and he was pumping iron. And I was like, that dude is we
used to push it.
A house.
So how did you guys connect? Like, what was the connection?
We were like ships passing in the night, Abby. Yeah. Let me tell you.
I knew her and, I just thought she had a nice butt. And then we were at a bodybuilding show one time. And our friends Brett and Ivana were coming over to my place to watch the Alabama football game.
Roll Tide.
Well, she was like around, and I was like, "Hey, why don't you come over and watch it with us?" And then for some reason she didn't, and I was like, "Well, you're lost." And then later on, we circled back, and Annastasia will tell you how it all happened.
So he basically was, that was not the first time because I think you had invited me to like a Halloween party too.
Yeah. So
the one where you were dressed like a baby.
Yeah. So basically denied me twice.
So there was a times where I had seen him and that's not I denied you. You ended up dating some girl that was like a train wreck.
Oh, and so don't get us started on that one. I know who that one was. That's not even worth
episode. We don't need to go there right
now.
Not
even the only one that was a train wreck. Majority of them were train wrecks.
I was the freaking conductor. Straight up. Straight up.
Choo choo.
I used to say, if you're a train wreck, date me. So, love it. You're the only one I can't say that's the case. Okay.
So I couldn't move in with my grandmother. I was like, okay, gyms are shut down. Obviously, I needed to reach more people and to make money, even though I was still living with my parents. I was like, I got to get out of here. And so I really started building up my online coaching. I was thinking since gyms were shut down and I had known all these coaches, and this kind of gets into how like Adam and I started dating. I started an Instagram page basically called the COVID 5280 Fit Club, 5280 meaning the Mile High City. And I included all of these coaches and trainers and dietitians from the Denver area to contribute basically a in-home workout or a recipe or, just a little bit of inspiration, motivation. And we started gaining this following.
I was going to think a community you're in.
Yeah, basically creating a community. The idea was obviously to, help generate some business, help generate some community in a time where everybody was kind of like lost and they're like, we still want to stay in shape, So driving that. And I included Adam in this group of COVID 5280 Fit Clubbers as one of the trainers. Well, the idea was everybody was supposed to contribute and share. Well, Adam was not contributing nor sharing. And so
It's a shocker to you, Abby?
Continue on.
I DM'd him and said,
she went into my DMs.
Oh,
yeah, I slid into Adam's DMs, but not for the reason you think. I was like, yo, are you going to post something here, buddy? Or I'm going to take you off this page.
Well, let me tell you, I accepted the invitation to the 5280 Club for the reasons you are thinking.
Yes.
And that's because I thought she was hot.
Yes.
That's the only reason I even accepted
He had zero interest in contributing whatsoever.
Not at all. So that's the real reason. I was like, yeah, she's hot. I'm down.
Yeah. So at the time, let me back up a little bit. I did my first bodybuilding show terribly in 2015, did bikini, put it to rest a little bit, came back and did figure for a couple years. And then wellness, this category came out. And at the time I was training for my first wellness show, through Armbrust. And then of course all the gyms shut down we couldn't train people, but not to mention we couldn't train ourselves to get ready for these shows. So I was trying to get ready for the show that I didn't know really when it was going to happen. It was like delayed, right? Postponed, because nobody knew what was.
And
really
that's what you probably love when you're training for a show, is that it keeps getting delayed, and you don't know
I was 8 weeks out from the Indie Pro and they canceled it.
Oh my gosh.
So you put all this effort in, and so trying to figure out how to get workouts done at the same intensity in your parents' basement is not the same. I was literally, and I'll show you videos, I was literally like taking buckets of rocks and like using that as a kettlebell. It was ridiculous. So, here I am, and I reached out to Adam. He's not contributing. He's like, "Oh, I'll help you." And he's like, "By the way, I also have this friend who has this garage gym that has legit equipment in it if you want to come do some workouts with me." And I was like, "Okay."
Now we're talking.
But what's so funny? Do you guys remember that time? I remember you working out there, and you guys had like the lights turned off because you were so afraid you were going to get caught like being around.
That was an arm rest.
Oh, that was.
Sorry, Dylan. It's been 5 years.
You're fine.
You'll be fine, bro.
It's fine. No one's coming for you. Yeah. But seriously, like I think about that time, it was so crazy, and how
we would walk around with our phones with our flashlights on and train.
Oh my goodness.
In pitch black. And then we had to get the hell out of there.
But think about it. Had that time of our life not happened, this would not have happened.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so crazy.
Bo and Sophia wouldn't have happened.
Exactly. Well, that's another story.
Brody wouldn't have happened.
I'd just still be a big red cherry dude.
Yes, big red head popping off. Head popping off.
Oh.
So how do you guys hang out for the first time?
So he invites me to come train in this garage gym because they couldn't train at Armbrust anymore secretively. So that got kiboshed. And so we had to go train at our friend Dorian's garage gym. And basically we would meet up, in the early morning and go train. And then eventually he kind of just asked me like, "Hey, do you want to come over and, watch some, what show was it that we watched? Some series."
I wasn't concerned about
and
the
we basically, would eat our fish and stare at each other, because you couldn't go anywhere. It's not like we could go on a date. And so, one thing kind of led to another. And I was like, this guy is actually really genuine, really nice. And I just felt like for whatever reason, there was just like this sense of calm, and it was easy. Adam and I became friends quickly. We obviously have a lot in common, and it was easy. I just felt like I could be myself around him, and we clicked. And so we started dating essentially during COVID. And,
it's so funny that
we are married.
Well, here you are. But what's funny about that is, being obviously around since the day Adam was born, I have seen a lot of girls come in and out of his life. Right. And every time,
do you remember when I met you?
Yes. But here's the funny part about that. So he would always like sell it to me like, "Oh, Abby, you're going to love this person." Typically what he would say is, "She loves wine too." And I'd be like, "I'm in. It sounds great. She sounds great." Yeah. But he would like introduce us right away thinking like we'd be super close. And then we would really quickly figure out that,
that they're insane.
So he tells me about
a whole episode just for
Adam's dating stories.
That would be a doozy.
So he tells me that he's talking to this girl named Annastasia. And I said, "Well, I want to meet her." And he said, "No, I'm not letting you meet this one yet." And I knew at that moment that was different, because typically he was always trying to have me meet. So no, I remember the first time I met you, and she was just like so personable and had it so together. And Maddie was like, my daughter was like, "She's very different than who Adam normally dates. I like her."
Yeah.
Well, Madison was a huge fan of the girl before Anastasia. She was really like that one.
Oh,
we won't go there.
Okay.
Yeah. I got Madison's approval day one.
Oh, you did.
And
you still
honestly,
have it too. It's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Madison,
because I love Madison.
I used to always say my niece is the toughest one.
She is the toughest one.
She's the toughest one.
So your guys' relationship, I wouldn't say it moved fast, but it was very quickly known that you guys had a very strong connection.
Yeah, it did move pretty fast, because honestly, I think that, again, during this COVID time uncertainty, like we're trying to compete. Adam ended up competing. I went to three of his shows. You did Tampa, New York, and Chicago. And I was competing in my first wellness
national show.
Well, I competed in my first amateur show, won my class for that, and then ended up going right into compete at nationals. And this was my first bodybuilding national show. And I won my pro card, which is really kind of rare, because most people compete at national shows quite, throughout several years to get their pro card. But this division was like the division for me. More lower body dominant, just the aesthetic fit me really well.
Booty.
And I came out with my pro card, and I remember, this is the crazy thing, side note, talking about like seeking my parents' approval. I had called as soon as I knew I was going to get my pro card, I called my mom and I told my parents, and my mom wasn't, let's be real, like wasn't completely supportive of my bodybuilding career. In fact, I remember when I was living with them, they kind of grew on to it and they were okay. They were a little bit more supportive. But at first, my mom, like, she took out my whey protein canister from the pantry and she brought it to me and she was like, I'm concerned about what this is and what you're doing. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, this looks like it might be harmful to your body. I was like, Mom, if you only know the half.
I remember Betty Gale we had a similar experience with Betty Gale, but she pulled out a whole container of empty needles, and so that was a little bit different.
Shit.
Oh my God. We just went there. We
We did.
Oh,
yeah.
She said the same thing. Adam.
Can you hear it? Adam.
And you know what I told her? I said, Mom, I'm trying to win.
Yeah. Listen, you just got to do sometimes what you got to do.
You know?
Right?
Well, and that kind of segues into our story because, so my parents eventually kind of, they weren't crazy about my bodybuilding journey or whatever. But when I called my parents and I told my Mom, I won my pro card. I'm a professional athlete. She bawled on the phone. And I was like, my mom doesn't do that normally. And so she was like, I'm so proud of you. And like, that was like such a full circle moment. Like, I was like, I knew I could make you proud of me, like at least with this, and like, and
well, I think a lot of parents when their kids get into bodybuilding, like they think they're just like out there like slutting it up on a stage, and like until you go to a show and you're like, okay, this is like actually, if you want to call it a sport, a competition.
For sure it
where
is.
it's like it's a lot
competitive.
There's a lot. It's a lot more than just like shaking your ass on a stage. And I think a lot of parents that when their kids are getting into this, they perceive it like that, and they don't look at it as like a sport.
Yes.
So I think that's why they have a little hard time with it.
I think because I've lived in this world with you for so long, I feel like I know the world, although I've never been in the world.
Right.
But I think people don't realize the work ethic that goes into getting on that stage. And I would say it's probably one of the most committed sports that you have to be a part of.
Most.
I mean, if you're, let's say you're playing football or whatever, right? You're still probably gonna have a night out that you go out with your friends.
You're gonna go drink. You're gonna go eat pizza. You're gonna go to practice for 2 hours and call it a day.
But
bodybuilding, as soon as you take your first breath in the morning, you're on until you go to sleep.
Yeah.
And every decision that you make impacts your body.
Well, and honestly, I mean, even for myself, I have such a respect for the sport because it is 100% a sport. Right. And probably the reason I've never done it is because I saw the commitment.
It's hard.
I was like, ooh.
You gotta be a little crazy.
Yeah, you do. You
gotta
be
wine. No.
Yeah, there's none of that.
No, you can't have that. Can't have that.
Nope. If you want to be successful at it, let me just say.
Some people
let me clarify. There's people that do that stuff, but they're not very great.
And those people look like a busted can of biscuits on stage.
Well, and they're frustrated why they're not getting results and not winning. Well, because you're not doing it at the level
you're
you
drunk.
have to.
Because you're literally drunk.
Yeah.
That's why you're not getting results.
And let's just clarify. I'm joking about the wine. I do like wine, but it's not like it's not like that. Yeah, like if I really wanted to do a show, I would give up the wine.
Yeah,
but I don't really care.
I don't really want to do a show.
But you have to give up lots of socialization. You have to give up lots of, just.
You don't even want to socialize because you're so carb depleted.
Yeah, you have to spend so much time doing.
You win the pro card.
I win my pro card, and we basically fly home. Adam and I get COVID, and I basically find out probably Christmas goes by, maybe even like a few weeks after Christmas, that I am pregnant.
So
we were locked in the house. There was nothing else to do.
Let's backtrack really quick. She flies home. You get COVID, but you also have a little surgery in the meantime.
Yeah, you forgot.
Okay, so
let's not forget that.
We're gonna talk about that. Okay, so I ended up. This is a side note. Boy, my life is a mess. I think about all this.
This is so fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, right? I mean, I've had lots of crazy stuff. So we ended up going in for a breast augmentation because I was flat chested, and I was planning after my pro card or after competing that season to go in for a breast augmentation. Well, at the time they did like a P test to see if you're pregnant before you go in for surgery. Well, it came up negative.
Probably too early.
Yeah, it was early, but I ended up actually being pregnant at the time of my surgery and didn't even, probably like really freshly pregnant, and had no idea.
Which did not make me very happy when I heard that.
Not make me not happy. I'm the one who paid for it.
Well, it's not that. I was worried about my kid.
Well, she's perfect, that also, so we don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, so we were nervous about that too. Honestly, we find out several months later through just a blood test. I had just gotten my blood done just to see, where my health markers were at that time. And the lady called me up and she's like, you're pregnant, right? And I was like, I'm
sorry.
I come again? Yeah. And I honestly, what's crazy is, again, I didn't think that I could have kids. I ended up getting pregnant with Adam.
I
He
can
didn't.
tell you right now, I didn't think I could have kids.
Well, I didn't either.
thought we handled that
Yeah.
for ourselves, but apparently we did not.
And so again, my life pivot. So then I have this total, my body's going to change, right? I have this total different viewpoint. Cause again, you know, I just won my pro card and now I can't even compete because I'm about to have a baby and this is all a whole new thing for me. So then, you know, body dysmorphia sets in.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then plus you like have this underlying pressure to feel like relevant in the bodybuilding field, which is so dumb. But I really just tried at that point to lean in on my coaching. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a mom, but I'm going to just pour into my clients and just really work on being the best coach that I can be, the best mom that I can be. This is exciting. Like, this is amazing. You know, I get to start this family with the person that I love. At that point too, I think I was like 6 months pregnant and Adam proposed to me. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes,
yeah.
I remember.
She was the one that helped me with
I
it.
helped with it.
Yeah.
It was super thought out. I put a sign around my dog's neck, and then he walked in the house, and it said, "Will you marry me?"
It said, "Will you marry my dad?"
Will you marry my
Actually, if you want, yes.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
cute.
It was so cute.
It was, but then you see some of this shit.
We
It's like
got married.
fireworks.
I know.
We
Listen,
got married
no.
quickly though in my parents' backyard.
Yeah.
Again, everything was shut down and we just wanted this. We ended up just choosing the small wedding and
We had to move a little faster because we had
a baby on the way.
Sophia
Well,
wanted to speak. Sophia sped some things up for
it was
us.
a
But
shotgun
but
wedding.
it was literally like a perfect wedding for you guys. I
For
feel like
sure.
there was
Oh, it was
that
the
was like the
best.
perfect thing.
That's
But
all we needed.
let's backtrack just for a second before we kind of continue on through your journey. But let's talk about body dysmorphia because I feel like that is something that is a huge thing for women in general, but I think probably a huge thing for people in your industry because you go from being in the best shape of your life, right? You're on stage, you're seeing every muscle, you feel incredible, you have like no % body fat, right? And again, that you feel great about yourself to then you get off stage, you naturally gain some weight back because you start eating a little bit normal, but now your body completely changes because you're now pregnant. So how did you handle that? Because I'm sure that was a little bit of a struggle of going, okay, now I'm in the best shape of my life, but now my body's going to completely change to being pregnant, which means a lot more body fat. Was that hard or how did you embrace that?
Yeah, it was hard. It was so hard. Especially, you know, again, like I said, I felt like, how can I be a representation? I was the first wellness pro in Colorado to win her pro card, you know, technically. So, you know, how was I supposed to be this representative of this sport and then be like,
but you also put that pressure
feel
on
like I'm a
yourself.
whale, you know?
You also put that pressure on yourself.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that pressure makes diamonds, and that's why
pressure does make that. But I would say, as an outsider, I think that was a huge thing for your industry because I think a lot of women are afraid of getting pregnant, and I think you were a big you know, I don't want to say idol, but in a sense of, okay, you can get pregnant and then you can get back into incredible shape as well.
Yeah.
And that you can do both. Because I think a lot of women in the industry feel like it's got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
They're either 100%, you know, here or over here. And it's like, no, you actually can do both.
I had legit had people tell me to my face that I was never going to step on stage again. I had people saying that, you know, good luck getting your body back. I've had those comments, you know, you're never going to be the same. That's literally what people would say to me. So not only are you in this mental turmoil of body dysmorphia, you're dealing with that, but then you have these outside people chiming in unwarranted about what your body's going to look like because you've exposed your body on social media being, you know, this bodybuilder, and, you know, people had been following me through this journey. Plus I'm a coach and trying to be a representative of what health is supposed to look like, you know? And I felt like, how am I going to overcome this? And I think that's what ended up backfiring on a lot of people because I was like, you know what? This is just giving me more fuel to turn around and be like, look, I can go through these things. My body can go through these things. Not only am I going to make those changes, but I'm going to come out even better than I was before I was pregnant.
Well, and that's what's so funny is, you know, people who have the audacity to do that, right? And tell you, oh, well, it's over for you. You can never do it. Those are typically people who are just they're haters, but they're typically intimidated by you. So in a sense, they were probably like, oh, let me feed this to her so she doesn't come back because she's technically a threat.
Right.
Yeah.
When I feel like this whole stigma of your body is never going to be the same after pregnancy is so crazy. You know, sure, some people might get loose skin and whatever, but if you want your body to be back, you can make it go back.
Yeah.
You know, and you did an incredible job of doing that. But you did take a period where it was like you had Sophia, you have your family, you know, you were obviously still working out hard and everything, but your mindset at that point was more family versus stepping
Yeah.
on stage again?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't a spring chicken. I was like 40. So at the time I had Sophia, I had just turned like, what, 39? Almost 40. Yeah, 39 probably. And then I was like, okay, I want to grow my family. Bodybuilding needs to be shelved. Like if I'm going to do it, I need to do it now. I don't want to be in a freaking walker, at their graduation being like, come on, son, or
Come
whatever.
on, buddy.
So, Adam and I were focused on that. And honestly, we were very blessed to get pregnant again with Bo. And
Two is perfect.
yeah. And so that was like almost, they're what, 2 years apart, pretty
2 years
much.
apart.
So, so I became pregnant with Bo, and that was also having that understanding about how to handle pregnancy the second time around, and instead of eating my emotions the whole time. I learned a lot from that and staying in shape, and I stayed so strong through my pregnancies. I mean, I lifted and worked out until the final days, but unfortunately, because Sophia was breech, and because of the situation with Bo, I wasn't dilating. I had not delivered either of them. I had to have C-sections in both. So that took an additional toll that I wasn't anticipating on my body and to heal and come back from that. So I came back from 2 C-sections, and then a little bit later after that, it's probably 6 months after having Bo, I woke up in the middle of the night and had to get an emergency appendectomy because I had appendicitis. And
so now in like
I had
2 years, you've had 3 surgeries essentially.
3
and your
abdominal surgeries.
abdominal surgeries. Yeah. Wow.
So I had that. And at that point too, I still wasn't like, I'm going to come back to the stage. I hadn't really thought about it until honestly the new year. And I was thinking, I could actually do this. I have been lifting this whole time. I feel like I could be competitive, and I want to give a shot at doing, competing at the pro level and especially in the masters division and see what I could do. And so I set out to compete in 2025 and competed in 2 pro shows in Chicago, got 5th, and in Tampa and got 3rd. And it was just a great season for me. I had an amazing coach and an amazing season, but going into that mindset of competing again now with having 2 young kids was a feat. When somebody says that their prep is hard, I'm like, oh, really? Tell me about how hard that was.
With two kids.
2 toddlers, not 2 just kids. 2
when they're
toddlers.
waking up in the middle of the night, or you have to get cardio done, and you have all this, it's not like, it is not easy. So, you're prepping foods. It's a lot. Your energy's low, and you have to show up for your kids and your family every day. It's completely different when these people have this mindset of like, oh, this is so hard for me. And, all you have to do is worry about yourself. Like, give me a break.
Well, you choose your heart. You choose your heart.
Yeah.
But they don't know what that heart is because they never experienced it.
Exactly.
So for them, their heart is here.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I personally, from an outsider looking in, would say I felt like you were in even better shape doing it the second time.
She totally was.
Than you were the first time with no kids, because I think you had to be so intentional. And sometimes when you have goals, we're going to have distractions everywhere, right? Like in life, if you set a goal, you're going to have every distraction hit you in the face to make you not achieve the goal. But if you'll stay focused on it and you're intentional with the time that it's going to take to make it happen, like you're going to make it happen even better.
Yeah.
I always say the most successful people are the busiest.
Yeah. And she trained throughout her whole pregnancy, so she was able to maintain that muscle and even improve that. And then when she was able to get lean, that's when she improved her physique.
Exactly. So, and what's funny about this is that ties into, obviously, you do your second show in Tampa. And then shortly after that, you guys decide to go on the Japan trip, which is what led into Adam's story. But
we all heard that one.
And if you did not, go back to episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yes. Yeah.
But let's kind of, I want to ask you, like, what's next? Like, obviously you've done your shows, you know what goes into it. Now you've got a very active toddler. You've got a preschooler, almost pre-K-er.
Yeah.
Do you do it again, or what are your goals?
So as far as bodybuilding is concerned, my goal is to compete at the Masters Olympia in 2027. I believe that I can stand up on that stage and present myself well and be competitive. So I'm working on that goal. It's kind of just this long off season because I obviously won't be competing until the beginning of 2027. So I have got that. But besides bodybuilding, what's next for me is to continue to hone in on being the best mother that I can, to continue to hone in on my career about being the best coach that I can be, and helping others through their own trials and tribulations of of, what it's like to go through a fitness journey and have all this adversity. And I'm like, hey, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have, body dysmorphia. I know what it's like to have a family and have to juggle all the things, and really just helping my clients see that. That's really important. And just really continue to push my limits, or I guess shatter those glass ceilings of where I thought I was in terms of entrepreneurship as well, and just take on some more opportunities. So
I love that so much. And I love your story because you are so relatable to the people that you're working with, because you've been through it. You've tried multiple things. You've had successes, but you've had failures. You've had moments that you thought that you were crushing life and moments that you thought you were disappointing everybody. And that's part of life. And so, when you look at that, that's the reason why people are so attracted to being around you, because you're not afraid to share that life's been a roller coaster. But every successful person out there has been on a roller coaster times probably 10.
Yeah.
And so, your story is just so inspiring. And I know you're going to do such incredible things. Maybe I'll go to the Olympia. Or do I need to watch the kids?
We don't even know where
or do I need to babysit?
We don't even know where it's at yet.
Yeah, we don't know.
Well, let me know. Let me know.
Wherever we go, we will not be sumo wrestling.
No sumo wrestling this time. No crazy activities allowed.
No, we're done. We're done with those.
But thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
I know
I would
many
say
people related.
one thing is that, as soon as you stop doing things for other people and you do them for yourself, that's when you're going to flourish.
So good.
That was my biggest turning point, is when I realized to stop trying to seek others' approvals and try to appease other people by doing this, that, and the other for them, and just being like, no, what do I want to do? What is going to make me happy? What is ultimately going to fulfill me? And how can I be the best in that? At that point, once I figured that out, the sky, the limit, things started to fall in place with me. I was able to be blessed with not only an amazing husband, but 2 beautiful children, an amazing career. I get to do some of the most amazing things, this hobby, I guess, of bodybuilding, if you will, and still thrive as a mother and as a coach. And so I would just suggest that if you're listening to this, just follow your heart. Don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about what other people are going to do to judge you, and just go for what you need to go for. And you will succeed if you're relentless about it.
Yep. If you don't have haters, you're not doing it hard enough.
Yeah,
it's true.
Truly. Yeah. All right, you guys, thank you so much.
Thanks.
And we'll see you at the next one.